Hello and welcome to a new entry of High Tech Low Code podcast. The focus of this episode will be a sort of low code evaluation. And like the last episode, we have the company of Tiago Neves and Mohammed Hashish to help us discuss this topic. We'll go through the challenges and opportunities that technology provides us and how it can shape the market shares in the low code playfield. Mohammed, welcome back and thank you very much for joining us again in the podcast. How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. How about you?
All good. Thank you very much. What about yourself, Tiago? Also, welcome back. And how is everything going on your side?
Yeah, the same. All good. Happy to be back. I had fun last time, so ready for another one.
Oh, glad to hear. So going to our subject at hand, let's start with some basics. What is low code? Tiago, can you go?
I can.
Do you want?
Yes, happy to. This is low code. It's not. It's an easy question, let's say, but a difficult answer to give to this one. But low code isn't also the same today as a concept as it was when it first appeared. And I see. I had given some thought to this. To be honest, trying to make it something simple. And it can be defined in a simple way, I believe. But low code today is more and more associated with different technologies that in the beginning, when this concept came, was far from being in everyone's mind. At least initially, low code was mainly used within the application development. And today it just became more of a mainstream concept term used throughout all different technologies. And that helps understanding a little bit of the concept, let's say, that I see low code being, but very much a tool that abstracts and speeds up the technical implementation, allowing a focus on just building the best business solution fit. That's kind of how I see low code.
What about yourself, Mohammed? Does this go in hands with your vision of low code?
It does, but let me go back a little bit in history. Where did that term come from?
Okay.
So in the 90s and 80s, there was something that is very famous, which used to be called rapid application development or code generators, and they failed miserably, each one of them. None of them succeeded. And then companies started to evolve, and low code as we know it today started probably maybe 20 years ago. And what happened is that it was called the same. It was called rapid application development, and people started hating it. And every time you start introducing that to an enterprise architect or a CIO, it was, no. I'm not going to use that. I've used it before and it failed. So 2014, I guess, it was the first time the term low code was introduced formally by Forrester, I believe. And it was meant to be, this is how you deliver applications using a higher level language, higher than code, abstracting all the coding that you do while you're developing .NET or Java, and just putting it in visual format, and you just do that there. But it didn't include the fact that actually platforms today are not only low-code development, they are complete cycle of delivery of applications. It's the modern way, or currently almost becoming the natural way of delivering applications. Instead of doing it with a team of 15, 20 people in 10 months, just do it with a team of 3, 4 in 2-3 months. It's just that. It's everything that is done visually and done fast with capabilities to actually deliver enterprise applications at scale. I would call that low code.
Cool. That's quite an interesting definition, especially because of the rapid development. I was not aware of that. Moving on to the next one. So many businesses struggle to identify their pain points, let alone which vendor is more suited for them. With so many vendors and new players, where should we start?
So, there are many players in the market. You'll hear a lot of names. You open Forrester Wave or Gartner Magic Quadrant and you find many names. You find Microsoft, OutSystems, Neves, Appian. By the way, they're all great. Each one of these is great, but at doing what? That's the question. That's where organizations need to start. What am I going to do now? And what am I going to do in the future? So if I'm starting today by doing a very simple application that is replacing an Excel sheet with 20 people using it, usually this is a simple scenario that every single low code in the market will be able to do. But what am I going to do next? Am I going to do a B2C application for customers on mobile? Or am I going to do a core application that handles millions of transactions per minute? What am I going to do next? And these are questions that need to be asked. Am I going to rely on business processes? Am I going to rely on customer experience? Am I going to have a strategy of IT builds everything and business are just users? Or am I going to involve my business in actually constructing these apps? And to what limit? Are they going to just maybe draw the business processes, or are they going actually to participate in delivery? A lot of questions need to be asked before actually making a decision on this is the right technology for me, this is the right platform for me, and this is a question that needs to be answered by the CIO, by architects, by the development teams, and the business.
What about you, Tiago? What's your point of view on this?
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with what Mohammed just said. And there's also the fact that now, although low code is becoming more known by everyone, even within IT, not everyone still understands what it is and might have a wrong perception, let's say, of what it is about, and can it be used in mission critical systems? Is it just a tool for business users to just adopt instead of using Excel, etc.? So there's also misconceptions on from IT side sometimes on what low code can deliver, and putting aside no code term on the conversation, but just another level of abstraction, basically, no code. So there's also misconceptions around low code that need to be answered when a business is just looking into a way that basically what they are looking for is to deliver faster. Business keeps changing, and all the systems need to keep pace, let's say, with that fast pace of change of the business. And so all of this is where businesses usually are coming from, and they need to see what are the different use cases that different vendors are best at. And obviously, if they do not understand what their real pain points are, they might make a wrong decision and go with a wrong vendor technology that will not fit them. Maybe short term it might work, but medium long term they end up being in a situation where they see they had taken a wrong decision in the beginning. So yeah, this is as always, understanding the problem is the most important part of everything.
There is something I would like to clarify, and is, so what kind of applications can we build with low code? Can you give me some insight into that?
Sure. So there are many types of low code. They're not all the same. They're not exactly the same. There are low code.
So each one has its own flavor.
Yes. Mostly you can build many types of applications with low code, but depends on many things. So there are low code platforms that were built for specific industries, and they are focused on, for example, insurance or financial services. There are low code that were built coming from a business process technology background. So these platforms were in the past business process management suites or adaptive case management suites. And they started evolving their platforms to be local platforms because the concept was to build everything around the business process, and the ability to customize or to provide the customer experience that is needed for or around these business processes was not there. So, and everything around those used to be built using custom development. And custom development used to be in .NET or Java, which takes a lot of time. So the process itself is developed in 2 weeks, and the application around it takes 6 months. So it didn't work. So these platforms need to evolve. They needed to be by themselves local platforms, providing the application layer, providing the business processes, providing everything. There are other low-codes that came from the concept of we are delivering applications, whatever they are. So building applications that can be data-driven, that can be customer experience-driven, that can be focused on employee productivity and usability and a lot of things. That can be batch processes and just running in the background. So there are a lot of flavors of low-code. Generally speaking, you can deliver almost anything based on the platform you choose. So if you have a strategy of having, for example, your business users participating in building the processes, most probably you would rather build that with a platform that was based on case management or business process management. If you are building or you're adopting a strategy that IT is building all the apps, and you have a lot of varieties of apps, some of them are completely customer experience driven, B2C, mobile and portals, and some of them are internal and some of them are batch processes, and you need this kind of Swiss Army knife. You need the generic kind of local platforms that were built to deliver any kind of application. And if you are seeking just business users to be building lightweight applications on top of the systems that they have in place, then you can go to a third group, which is the group that is mostly focused on business developer kind of use case, as they call it, where the business user is actually the person who is building these apps. So you can do everything almost. You can do from a B2C in mobile banking to an application that is consolidating all the money that is coming in from different parts within collection department, or you can build a complete claim handling process in an insurance company, or you can go to build batch processes just doing some search engine kind of with travel and transportation logistics kind of industries, right? You can do almost everything, but what do you want to start with? Where do you want to go? These are the questions that actually determine what you can do with which technology. The trust is not there yet from many organizations in these local platforms. They still believe that they will hit a wall at some point. And if they choose the right one, they won't. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. Using the right tool for the right job. That's kind of the take I'm taking from the comment.
Absolutely.
Right? Tiago, anything you would like to add?
Not exactly heads, but in fact, don't know of any challenge, let's say, that any company has not been able to deliver with low code. So meaning that just what Mohammed said, you can really achieve all different kinds of applications with low code at this moment with the existing technologies. Obviously, some will be best fit for B2C mobile applications, for instance. Others, if you just want to stay within an internal environment for employees, etc., you might just be happy to take one vendor that is more focused on that. So certainly what we need to understand is what are the challenges that the business has, what are they trying to overcome, and put all this together and select the best option.
So we've been talking about the product and what we can do with it and what it can help us with. So along with the actual product capabilities, is it important to evaluate the vendor's strategic vision for that product?
Yes, absolutely. This is important, and not just you can evaluate several aspects when you look at the strategic vision of the product, the roadmap, what has been the latest developments. First, you can easily see just at what stage of, for instance, investment, etc., that vendor is. Are they actually building that product further? In which direction? Being more cloud friendly, containers. So all of that is certainly going to be present in that strategic vision on the roadmap, as well as trying to look at what has been their evolution lately in the last year or so in terms of their capability to deliver on that roadmap. Are they just over-promising and really not delivering on that roadmap? So just how healthy that product might be. For instance, we know how sometimes just the legacy, some vendors will just hit a wall in terms of the evolution of their product. And so there are some hidden aspects that experience will help you try to understand. So not everything will always be clear at eyesight of what's behind the technology and how do you see that that product and vendor just their evolution into the medium and long term. So certainly it is there are many aspects that need to be taken into consideration, and this is certainly important because we cannot take decisions for today. We need to take decisions for the future, and this needs to be part of that evaluation.
See, I understand what you mean. Mohammed, what about yourself? What are your thoughts on this?
So let's think about two things. There is one that is very direct. So let's say I'm an enterprise architect or a CIO, and I have a vision of having everything on containers.
Right.
If the technology doesn't support that, it's no use for me, right? If the technology doesn't have plans to support that, it's no use for me. Because maybe in 2 years, I would like everything to be in containers. If the technology doesn't have that in 2 years, then what am I going to do with it, right? So this is a very simple thing, just looking at the technology from a technical point of view and see where this technology is going. But there are other factors. So let me give you an example of one of the hidden things that people usually don't think about. So how is the revenue of this company, especially if they're a public company and things are known, how is the revenue of this company or this vendor is split between product and services? The more services companies do, usually it's because of one of two reasons. One is there is no good and healthy partner ecosystem, or the technology is not that easy, or actually is not delivering on its promise, so they have to do a lot of things in services to support their customers. Look at it from that perspective. And you'll see companies who are evolving their product faster, they usually try to avoid having more services and trying to involve more partners, trying to involve the customer themselves to actually do a lot of things on their behalf, because this is how they can scale. And usually these are the companies who have really good products. The more services, the less quality of the product usually. not in every case, but it's just something to consider.
So not kind of. So we're talking about what should be the focus of all of these companies that are developing these products, right? At the end of the day is what's going to drive their development going forward. Because it might also be a balancing act, I would imagine. You can correct me if I'm wrong. They want the product, so they can invest too much in services, but they need the services so that they can promote the product that they're going to sell and help out their future partners. That kind of goes hand in hand also, right?
So, okay. So I'll take the example of ourselves.
Okay.
So we are a partner of different of these technologies, right?
Right.
Why would we decide to be a partner of a technology that doesn't really deliver on its promise, or it doesn't really work, or it's not that easy to learn? Why would we invest there?
True. It's not suitable for us. No point in wasting time with it. Yes.
And every partner would think the same. If every system integrator or every consulting company wants to be a partner with technology, they will think about their investments in this technology. If it's too high, there is no point. And if there is no healthy partner ecosystem, the company will have to deliver services themselves. It's not about because they choose to deliver services. Services don't scale. To deliver 1x of services, you need 0.6 or 0.7 of cost, because you have people, you have a lot of things to deliver. Services do not scale. To scale services, you need to add more people and add people and add people. It's not the right way to scale for a product company. So if the product company is scaling using services, then they are doing something wrong.
Gotcha. Picking up from that. Oh, Tiago, you want to add something?
Just not trying to get here into the controversy discussion, but
oh, please do. Come on, those are the best ones.
But it's just I see obviously the healthier the partner ecosystem is, the better for that vendor. And as Mohammed was saying, that doesn't seem to be an interest in a vendor growing their services, but have the partners doing that, and so providing them a healthy business ecosystem for them to thrive, and so on. And you might wonder, so if a vendor does have that stronger services on part of their business, why is that? Is it because they haven't been able to build that healthy partner ecosystem? It's not attractive for a partner. Are they trying to hide something, let's say, in terms of some aspects of their product that are difficult? So it's there can be several reasons, let's say, in why companies do take that path. At the same time, sometimes it's just how fast they grow. It is just the fact that the vendor might be the one that has all the funds available to keep up with the demand, the growth in the market, while the partner ecosystem is lagging a bit behind. But so yeah, that's I think I think that this is something that is very dear to us, and we would certainly have here also some perspectives on some details. Who knows, maybe we will have some other episode to talk about some other aspects. But yeah, it's all this mix of also even the developer communities, how healthy they are, how passionate their developers are. Is this something that is easy to sell, let's say, to the developers? Do companies struggle to have obviously resources that are needed to deliver work with these technologies? So all of this is just a mix of aspects that for us, that as Mohammed was saying, where we work with some of these vendors, the leaders, and we know by heart, let's say, some of these aspects and the differences between the different vendors. But it's certainly not the case for our customers that are new to the code world and don't have, which is natural, just this perspective of that we do from being in the field and having delivered projects with different technologies. But they certainly make a difference, and they're not that easy to capture for those that don't live within this space.
Mohammed, do you agree with the importance of aspects of such an ecosystem of delivery partners, communities, marketplaces, the whole shebang, right?
Of course, and this is what we were talking about. The less the partners, the higher the dependency of the customer on the vendor. So if I am delivering a project today and I don't find another partner to come in and continue the project if it fails, or do the second project if the first project is successful, then I'm more dependent on the software vendor to come and deliver that for me. And usually software vendors are very expensive. So it's a simple equation. If I find around me 50 partners that I can select the best from them, or the ones that I prefer dealing with as a CIO or as a customer, I would pick the one that has many of partners. I think it makes sense.
Agreed. Okay, so we've been talking about how we evaluate the low-code, and so I would like to ask, with so many challenges to consider, is low-code a solution for every industry and business size? How can a business leader find their best solution using low-code?
Not necessarily. So there are scenarios that low-code is not the answer. And there are many, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't go and replace SAP by building an ERP in low-code, right? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to build anything from scratch that needs less than 20% of customization of an existing product. I wouldn't go and build something from scratch to do recruitment. There are plenty of SaaS products. They're great. Or I would do HR processes, or some of the finance, or some of this or that. There are a lot of processes that are already implemented in SaaS products or on off-shelf products, and they work. So it doesn't make sense to go and reinvent the wheel in that sense. What does make sense is that some of these products, they are great in terms of what they offer as the amount of functionalities, as the features, how they deal with data, how big they are in terms of different modules, and they can cover the entire organization, etc., etc. But sometimes they don't provide necessarily the fit for purpose applications for the employee. So you order something from DHL, and the guy comes to your house holding a device in his hand. It can be a mobile, can be a rigid device, it can be a tablet, depends on what the company is using, right? What's his experience? How long does this guy take to tick the items, make sure that he has the right items in the car, and do his daily job in the most efficient way? Usually these systems that are built in place, they don't cover these kind of things because they are very personalized. They are personalized per country, per culture, per how people work, it's per company. So they need all of customizations. And in this case, these kind of fit for purpose experiences for employees and for customers as well, this is something that it's good to plug a local platform on top of these systems and actually provide these experiences and extend the system of records or the ERPs and CRMs and all of these with applications that actually they make the life of employees and customers much easier. There are scenarios that you might need a very, very specific or very highly complex application in something that is very okay. Let me go back and repeat that sentence. There are scenarios where you need to build an application that is very specific in what it delivers and the experience that needs to be delivered. So for example, I need to deliver an application that gives me the experience of a game on a mobile. There is no low-code platform that can deliver that with the current capabilities in the market. No way. Go and deliver that in native iOS and Android. You cannot do that with low-code. As simple as this. If you want to build an application that some sort of 3D gamification app, this will take you ages to build on a low-code. Just go and do it in native. So there are scenarios where you shouldn't use low-code. There are scenarios where you should complement what you have with low-code. There are scenarios if you have an application running already and it has been running for 10 years and you've never changed it because you don't need to, it's something that does a very specific function. It has been there for a long time. It doesn't change. There is no point. You can migrate some of it when you need the experiences. You can integrate to it and provide the experiences, but just redoing it for no reason will not make sense to many companies, at least in the beginning. Why is that? Because when companies realize the value of what they can deliver with low code, they start looking at their backlog and see, I have these 3-4 legacy systems that I haven't touched for 10 years, and I think it's time to change them. But that happens only when they realize the value.
Right. And that's usually when something is about to go bonkers, right? And that's okay, and we need to change now.
Not necessarily. Just seeing the value and seeing how much they're spending to maintain existing legacy, it makes them think, okay, so if I can actually deliver this value there, then I can replace the legacy with low code.
I see what you mean. Like, okay, if we do that, we will actually be saving money either on servers or services.
Exactly. Yeah. But in the beginning, no one dares to make that decision. No one will bring in a new technology and just, okay, let me replace all my legacy with low code, because no one trusts low code that much yet.
There's also the sheer cost if we think about it, right? Just planning and going about doing that.
Exactly.
Tiago, what are your views?
I was just thinking about something that I see as an example throughout the last few months with the situation we have been facing with COVID, with the pandemic, but a little bit of what we were discussing, where in particular I'm thinking about the US, where there were some systems related with health systems where COBOL, for instance, was an important part of those systems, basically critical part of how those systems were built, and where all of a sudden there was a huge demand for COBOL programmers again, and just there aren't any more left, let's say, and there was the need to, so the reality, the situation that we were faced with, there was the need to do changes to these systems, to customize, to build something on top of it. And it was a huge struggle, and it has unfortunately also impacted how fast and just all the different entities had to or were able to respond to the needs. And so there could be situations like this one where it's there's a need to to just change, let's say, being forced at least to deliver systems in a particular short period of time, and realizing that you cannot just do anything out of what you had, and you might as well just start from scratch. You would probably be able to build something in 6 months or even less than that, just starting from scratch with eventually a low code, then keep on going and trying to solve something in these legacy systems that could take a year or two to achieve that same result. So there can be just external factors that will sort of put you against the wall, and you have to move away from those legacy systems. But as Mohammed said, it's if you have something that it just works, it's sitting there for 40 years. I mean, nobody knows, but it's just a critical, eventually, part of some system. But it just works, and sometimes just how critical it is just to touch that, it might just be a decision that involve millions, that just moving away from that. So it's with time, certainly things will change, but companies and entities in general will, as they start to adopt low code, they will understand better. So what are the different purposes, capabilities that they can achieve with low code, and if it's worth it moving away from what they have built from scratch or not, as what we were just talking about. The maintenance costs can be tremendous on some of these systems. And so the financial side of it is certainly always a very important aspect to take into consideration, obviously. But it is low code, to the question, I mean, is low code a solution for every industry and business size? No, it's not, but certainly has its place, and the use cases and just its use is the technology in itself is evolving, and we certainly see just the low code approach, let's say, to build systems just spreading throughout, not just application development, and so through automation, business process integrations, and so all of these, it's because the complexity keeps on growing, and we need to, as much as possible, so to have more and more low code systems, tools that allow us to just deal with all this complexity, this growing complexity in a short period of time. It's a mix of things, but certainly low code is not a solution for everyone, for everything. It's not, there's no silver bullet, as we know, that doesn't exist.
Okay, guys. And with that, we reached the end of today's episode. Thank you very much, Tiago and Mohammed, for your time and company in our podcast. We'd also like to send a big thank you to everyone who is listening, and hope you can join us on our next episode of High Tech Low Code Podcast, where, as always, we'll talk about more topics from the tech universe. See you soon.
Bye-bye, guys. Bye.